you, Carol. How are you?
Tell your mother we enjoyed it as much as she did.
Eh?
Tell your mother we enjoyed it as much
Really?
as she did.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Pepe. Perú a la sala, por favor. Un aplauso para este gran director. Por favor.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias a los dos por tan grandes películas y gracias a todo el público que llegó y que bueno se está quedando aquí para esta sesión de preguntas y respuestas. So thank you so much for these wonderful films and thank you everyone for attending and for staying here for the Q&A. So just we're going to start with some general questions and then we're going to open up as usual for questions for the audience. And just want to know a little bit more about the whole process, how these stories actually were developed by you, how this story actually came to you, and then how it was the actual process of beginning the film. So we can start with Flavio and then with Franco.
Well, I make human rights films usually. So I work with NGOs. I start to collaborate with the domestic worker of Mexico because, there were a bunch of women trying to fight for right, and Mexico, which is very hard to get the insurance and all these things that they are fighting for. When I came the first time with this, the first video that I made was virtual reality, which was very funny because it was almost people think, oh, we're gonna have fun, but then when you were inside of the virtual reality, it was not fun, This is the second movie that I made for them, and the idea was, I realized that when I was going to the meetings, that these mothers, mostly mothers, they had almost the same pattern, and they convert their own daughters and son in domestic workers in their own place. So that women, the teenager one, she's basically like a domestic worker of her own place because of the mother. So this is like a circle, like a pattern. So that's the beginning. That say, okay, we need to discuss about the domestic workers' right, but through the perspective of people the kid who stayed at home, dreaming, having this fantasy. So because I think that in both films, this kid create this idea of they create a new world, it's like a fantasy, which is for the adults is different, but they need to create it in order to survive. They live very isolated. So in one movie we have the mountains, but in the other we don't have mountain, but we are a trap. It's like even in the mountains you feel a trap, even the mountain is like a prison. So in my movie it's just for walls. That's the reason why I this is not the first time. I usually do this kind of very sad films.
So we can actually draw some connections, although it's one is a rural setting and an urban setting, different countries, but of course there are some points and we can draw those connections. So Franco, para ti.
Bueno, primero muchas gracias por quedarse a ver la película. ¿Cómo llega esta historia a mí? Bueno, básicamente el guión lo escribe Annemarie Gunkel junto a Alicia Quispe, y después de mi primera película, Vientos del Sur, que también está hecha en Cusco, se acercan a mí junto al productor y me dicen que les gustaría que pueda dirigir esta peli, y es así que me meto del todo hasta convertirme en productor también.
Okay, so thank you so much for staying here. And basically he was saying that after his first film, the script writers approached him with the idea, and he ended up after working, he ended up actually being the producer of the film.
Sí, y en ese proceso pues empezamos la película el 2019. El proyecto, empezamos a hacer varios teasers, empezamos a presentarnos al fondo del Ministerio de Cultura en Perú, y después, ya en el 2022, logramos el fondo para poder realizarlo. Realizar la película.
So they began working in 2018. They were applying for different grants and different funds, and finally, when they started working, they got from the Ministerio de Cultura, and in the end, the big one in 2022.
Sí, y de hecho, acá como un paréntesis, tengo que decir algo muy importante, que hace unos días, lamentablemente, el Congreso del Perú ha promulgado una ley que posiblemente películas como esta ya no se puedan realizar. Y metiéndole también un tema de censura. Y toda la comunidad cinematográfica peruana hemos puesto una voz de alerta ante esta terrible situación.
So he was saying that just a few days ago, the Peruvian Congress approved a law in which they will make very difficult for films like this actually to be made, and it also has a lot of censorship involved. So the whole cinematic, the whole film community there in Peru, they were complaining about this, and he just want us to know about this because this is important.
Ok, bueno, y continuando con la historia de la película, luego para el 2023 empezamos a hacer bueno, 22,
Okay.
Empezamos a buscar al hacer el casting, y fue bien complejo porque buscamos en muchas comunidades alrededor del Cusco, hasta que logramos dar con Albert, pero la primera vez que llegamos con la cámara, Albert se quedó paralizado y no pudo hablar, y lamentablemente fue descartado en primera opción. Pero luego, en un taller que hicimos en la comunidad, en el distrito de Ocongate, llegó su padre y hicimos un taller de actuación donde ahí sí salió a flote todo el potencial de Albert.
So he was saying that in 2022 or 2023, they started with the casting, and they were going to different places, different communities nearby Cusco, and it was interesting because in the beginning, Albert, who was Feliciano, who was not chosen. But they kept going to the communities, and they did a workshop, and he came with his dad, and in the end, after the workshops and after that process, he was the chosen one because he was so shy in front of the camera in a certain moment.
Y creo que lo más maravilloso fue que el guión pedía la presencia del perro y la alpaca. Y un día Albert nos invita a su casa en una comunidad de Upis. Y al llegar a la comunidad, de pronto un perro se le salta encima y decimos, o sea, ¿qué es esto? Y él se empieza a jugar con una alpaca, que también era su mascota. Y resulta que él ya tenía una mascota como un perro y una alpaca. O sea, y dijimos todos, esto ya es demasiado mágico, ¿no? O sea, es increíble.
So he was saying about the magic sometimes of things, because when they were already when Albert was already chosen, they went to his place, and the script was in need of a dog, of an alpaca, and he happened to have both at home, and he was playing with them, so that was like the signal, yes, that okay, he was the chosen one, he was the right one. Sí. Muchas veces escuché a muchos directores diciendo que lo más difícil que hay para rodar es rodar o con niños o con animales. En este caso teníamos un poco como los dos retos. ¿Cómo fue tu experiencia en ese caso? So sometimes the film directors they say that it's the most difficult task is to shoot it's either with kids or with animals. In his case, he had both. He was also shooting with kids. So if you can share with your experiences in the process.
Well, yeah, it's very complicated. It's very hard because you are dealing with kids. And for me, what I did was the first day I asked the parents to leave the house. Say the first second say, "Hey, welcome." I was like, "Okay, you're super nice, but you're not gonna be part of this movie." So you need to stay outside. So I was trying to get this moment like really like they need to trust about what they were saying, they are feeling. So we were alone, basically. And the parents, they didn't watch the movie until the end, basically. They didn't know what was the movie about until the premiere in Mexico last week. So working with kids, it's in my experience, because it's a documentary, it was much fun, because when we are with kids, you cannot just give directions, it's like start, cut. No, you need to be with them, play with them. It's like a game. You need to be with them for hours and hours until you start the conversation, because the way that I shoot, my camera is very close. It's close up. The camera is here. It's basically, it's on your face. And it's a kid, you are like this. And you are like this, and you need to talk, you need to express, you need to be real, blah, blah, blah. So what I was doing was I was playing, basically, just playing like for like days, playing and having fun. And then when we get very close, and when they got trust on me, and I'm a foreigner. I'm Argentinian. I live in Mexico. I came with cameras to your house. For them was like, oh, who is this guy? So I need to play with them. That's always, it's like you need to play and create like a game, because they are playing like they are alone. They are isolated. They spend most of the day alone without the parents. So suddenly you arrive there with your cameras, with people, with the car, with food, and you create all this kind of like a fantasy, because even a documentary is a fantasy. Yeah. So when you create the movie, it's not real. You go there only for 1 or 2 days, and then you leave. So they are right now, they are still alone every day. So I was the exception. I just changed a few days of them, but they stay alone every day. So it was shocking. It's tiring, but I like it. I like the process, and it was a very beautiful experience for me.
Okay.
Bueno, en mi caso, creo que la suerte de haber encontrado a Albert hizo que todo sea mucho más sencillo. Es verdad que te dicen no rodees con niños ni animales, pero en mi caso fue muy maravilloso, muy mágico. O sea, Albert ya venía con sus animales, entonces le hacían caso. De hecho, tuvo un mini entrenamiento con los animales, pero en realidad empezar a aprovechar más bien lo que te daba Albert. Empezar a descubrir quién era él, ¿no?
Okay, yeah. So basically, he was saying that although, yes, it is true that they tell you do not shoot either with kids or with animals, in his case it was actually a blessing, because Albert brought a lot of good things, and he brought his own mascot, his own animals, and he was able to play with them, and they obey him. So for them it worked out, and it was a process of discovery, just playing with Albert and the animals and the relationship.
Claro, por ejemplo, había un ensayo que tuvimos en el que Albert regresa, el ensayo se resbala, se cae y viene con una piedra. Y me muestra, Franco, mira lo que encontré esta piedra, y es la piedra en forma de alpaca, que él encuentra. Okay. Y digo, oye, le hablo con el director de arte, le digo, esto es un tesoro, esto tenemos que tenerlo y ver de qué manera entra en la película. Wow. Entonces, era un proceso también de aprender quién era él, y era un gran descubridor de ese tipo de piedras, ¿no?
So they were saying that after a rehearsal, Albert just slept and he found the stone that we see in the film. So it was totally by chance, and after when they with the alpaca in it. So when they saw that, it was okay. We have to incorporate this in the film. So again, talking about the whole discovery, how magical was the whole process.
Sí, o por ejemplo, hay momentos de la película que necesitamos verlo él jugar, ver hacer algo cotidiano. Entonces, un momento le dije, ¿sabes construir las zapachetas, las torres de piedra? Y dijo, claro, como algo muy cotidiano, y era un genio escogiendo las piedras. O sea, la piedra que puso, nunca sacó otra para... Entonces la puso, y armó esa toma, sí. Le hicimos 3 veces, y en ningún momento se cayó la torre O sea, fue increíble ese momento, decíamos, o sea, íbamos descubriendo en el proceso y él fue empoderándose de una manera tal que pues hacia el final logra todas estas, transmitir estas sensaciones, ¿no?
So again, talking about the whole discovery process with him, he was saying that with Albert that they needed him to portray him playing. So he asked him, "Can you do these stone towers that we see that at the beginning of the film? He's doing that," and he said, "Of course." And they did that. And they incorporate that, and apparently they just shot that like 3 times, and every time he did it, not a single stone actually was falling. So he was very skillful, very talented. So the whole shooting process was discovering this whole of things, this thing, and also Albert was somehow discovering himself. It was a really empowering process for him. So at the end of the shooting, they could see the difference also. Sí. Okay. ¿Sí tenemos tiempo? Sí. Okay.
I just want to say something about his movie. So what I like is beautiful how you can like create like this kind of link between the kids and the animals, because where we live right now in this time, we are very like with the iPhones and we are close but we are very far. And in your movie, it's very nice to come back to the root, you know, to come back this love with animals. There is a moment where the Rambo is playing with Ronaldo, and I want to ask you, it's like, because they were playing like if they are very good friends. So hay una parte en que Ronaldo y juegan, y me parece muy divertido como tú creas ese, you create like this kind of like a world of like a different kind of connection, and the kids create like, I like this point of view from the kid, you know, it's his world and it's the way how he see this world, and it's beautiful how we connect again with animals, with the nature, and I think that part of your movie, it's very touchy and it's very beautiful.
Muchas gracias por lo que dices. Sí, creo que desde un principio, desde que leí el guión, tenía que ser el punto de vista del niño, siempre, hasta la cámara y todo. Y la suerte de poder encontrar a Albert, que es alpaquero, o sea, es un niño alpaquero que tiene sus alpacas, entonces no tenía ningún miedo en conducir a las alpacas, emitir un sonido especial. Y Rambo es un perro alpaquero. Entonces tiene la costumbre de hacer esta rueda, ¿no? De hacer que ninguna alpaca se vaya del rebaño. Entonces, esos son regalos que te da la magia del cine que ha sumado un montón, ¿no?
Yeah, well, it was
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful, and also again like a really magical process, because they were very lucky to get Albert to do this part, because he actually he works, he lives with alpacas, he's an alpaquero, and also the dog Rambo, same thing. So all the movements that we see in the film, they are actually natural, and all the sounds and everything that we see is natural for them. So they are natural actors, you know, in both Rambo, the dog, and Albert. So they were very, very lucky.
And Ronaldo, don't forget Ronaldo.
And Ronaldo. Yeah, and,
no, y un punto importante es de que la alpaca no es un animal doméstico, o sea, no es que se deje domesticar, tiene que ser huérfana para que se acerque recién al ser humano. Y en este caso, el nombre real de la alpaca es Ausangate, era huérfana. O sea, y entonces, por eso, digamos, tuvimos la suerte, bueno, entre comillas, de que pueda estar como mascota, ¿no?
Yeah. So the one thing he was adding is that the alpaca is not a domestic animal, and unless it's an orphan, it's not gonna be they're not gonna be able to work or to play with them. But again, they were lucky to find this one that the actual name wasn't Ronaldo, was Ausangate. But again, that it was a lot of magical things, a lot of coincidence actually, that everything came together, and even in this case of this actual alpaca. One thing that I I found interesting in both films also is the way some voices actually play in the film. One in the the WhatsApps and the messages that the parents actually left for the kids, and also we have in the film the radio that it plays a strong is a strong presence in the film itself. So I was wondering if you could elaborate how did you get to that kind of like resource that you use in
yeah,
both films?
we discussed and we came to the idea and we made the movies. No, I think that that voice that you are talking about is the outside world. It's like in my case, the parents are there, you know, they're teaching. They are because they do what they can do. Now, right now with iPhones, but 25 years ago, basically was nothing. At least now, they are like, I don't know, they are teaching to their kids through the iPhones. For me, it was very important to have them without them. So because it's true. Basically, it's not because when I create like a piece of art was like this. So where are your parents? They are not here. What time they leave? 6 o'clock in the morning. When they come back? 10 o'clock p.m. So basically they are not there, but they are there all the time. They're checking, they are on the phone, they are doing the homework, they are taking pictures, send me the homework. So for me was, how can I create this outside world, but it's very part of the inner world. Basically, in my movie, the voices are real. So basically, I didn't recreate I took it from the iPhones, obviously with their permission, and I say, okay, I wanna have you in the movie. this moment was very complicated. Because I say, okay, I wanna have you in the movie, but not you. I wanna have you through your messages. I say, messages? Yeah, you need to open your iPhone. You need to let me listen or your message to your kids. That moment was like kind of like for a moment I thought that this is legal or not. Well, right now, you know. So right now it's illegal, but so for me it was like, okay, let's have this conversation. I want to know how do you teach them? How do you do? So it's like you give orders, you take pictures, and you ask for permission. How do you keep, because in the movie it's only 10 minutes, but this is years and years. So basically they are growing up like this. So for me the idea was, okay, I want to have another voice which is there, but it's not there physically, because sometimes, so you know, they don't have the parents physically, they just have like a voice, and before 25 years ago they have nothing.
Yeah, so this kind of like absence presence thing actually it plays really really well in the film. Yeah.
En mi caso, bueno, en realidad la presencia del adulto, tanto del partido en la radio, la presencia del adulto, son como un contexto, ¿no? Pero en la radio sí son las narraciones originales de una transmisión televisiva de todas del proceso eliminatorio del Mundial hacia Rusia. Logramos los derechos de este narrador que lamentablemente falleció. Entonces, cuando muchos peruanos escuchan a este narrador, hay otro sentimiento también, ¿no? Pero son todos el proceso evolutivo cronológico en la película. O sea, los partidos han sucedido de esa manera hasta el final, ¿no? Entonces, y lo más loco acá es de que son narraciones televisivas que son como retransmitidas por radio, ¿no? Yep. Entonces, o sea, qué tan lejos el fútbol te puede acercar, unir, pero a la vez te muestra mucha lejanía, ¿no?
De hecho, lo interesante de esa parte tuya es que el fútbol en tu película funciona como el único espacio donde los buenos y los malos están juntos, ¿no? Es como el fútbol tiene esa cosa que une a todos, porque cuando están ahí viendo fútbol es el único momento que se crea esa comunidad, ¿no? Y el fútbol traspasa y atraviesa todos los lugares y está en cualquier rincón del mundo. Es como una magia. El fútbol es como, a mí no me gusta el fútbol, ¿no? Pero es como mágico cómo te logra unir y cómo rompe un poco con las diferencias. Me pareció muy interesante cómo usaste el fútbol como unión entre los buenos y los malos. Perdón.
Sí.
Te estoy quitando tu trabajo.
No, I'm trying to. So basically, he was saying that the way the adult voice through the radio plays in his film is mostly to provide a context, but this context was actually real. They got the rights to use the actual narrations from TV. Of the whole qualifying process, all the games from Peru for the 2018 World Cup. So that's the real narration on TV, but it was playing as if it was in the radio, and it was a narrator that was really well known in Peru, and unfortunately he already passed away. But using that voice that's really recognizable for a Peruvian audience added an extra. Adding an extra actually to the whole film, and then Flavio was saying, "Can you say that in English, Flavio?"
You forgot my part. Are you tired?
No. But basically, basically, what Flavio was saying that actually soccer is kind of magical because it's somehow the only moment, and one of the moments in which the good guys and the bad guys are actually united, kind of as like a community, an imagined community, if you want. So he really liked that it's a moment in which you have the whole community actually united. Did I explain it well?
Yeah,
Okay.
10 points.
We have time for just one quick question.
No, come on. We travel all over the world for one question.
Just say this.
It's one question for 1 hour of
We're going to
flying.
open to the audience, and okay, yeah, please.
Hold on.
So,
Sorry.
okay.
Ok.
¿Por qué mataron a las alpacas? Why did they kill the alpacas? I
Bueno,
guess that's for him,
en
I
la
guess.
peli, que obviamente es ficción, es una forma de amedrentar a la población para poder sacarlos del lugar, ¿no? Básicamente. Es una forma de amenaza, ¿no?
Mm-hmm. So basically, in the film, but it's a fiction. It's a threat. It's a kind of like blackmailing, threatening the whole community. It's like a tool for that. Okay, we may have. Yep.
La directora está levantando la mano. Eso es trampa, ¿o no?
Okay.
Hola, muchas gracias por las películas. Una preguntita para Flavio, lo digo en inglés después.
Okay. Bueno.
Una preguntita, en la película ¿hubo como un tipo de práctica después? Porque los niños, obviamente, el trabajo es muy vulnerable, las preguntas también con un extranjero en su casa. ¿Hubo algún tipo de práctica después de las preguntas, de las entrevistas con los chicos para hacerlos sentir menos vulnerables, más seguros? Y también, más allá del momento de la entrevista, ¿hubo algún tipo de relación con alguna organización que está trabajando con los derechos, por ejemplo, de las mujeres o las trabajadoras domésticas, para apoyarlas, para que el trabajo no solamente sea a través, por ejemplo, del lente, pero con las personas real en tiempo presente? I'll say it in English really quick. So just a question to Flavio about the film. Was there any kind of aftercare practice with these children, because they opened up and it was very vulnerable with a stranger about very difficult topics and very fragile topics and traumatic topics? Was there any kind of aftercare practice with the children? And also, was there any kind of relationship or work with organizations that work with domestic workers to support the film in a sort of practical, more present way outside of the lens?
Well, yeah, but this movie is made by them. Basically, it's the Domestic Worker Association. So they call me. So it wasn't my idea. Was that I work for them, for these women's. So, and they call me to help them to create like a movie, like a short, to talk about the International Domestic Worker Day, which was March 27. So we made this movie for this special day. So basically this movie is made by these women, and the parents of this kid are part of this association. So basically we work together. And the aftercare you said, basically is for me was, I'm not going to show your movie to your parents until the premiere. So we are not going to have, this is not the process where they're going to get involved. It's going to be you, yourself. And I show the movie to them, to the kids. and I say, "What do you think? Are you okay?" So I told the parents, "I'm not gonna show you the movie, so you need to give me this permission, because this is like, it's the perception. It's without your, because nuestros padres, when they look at you, it's like, I remember my father looking at me and I was like, whoa, it's like, so for me was, okay, we are gonna I create like a fun, we play, it was a game. So to be with a kid with the camera like this and just having this kind of like very deep conversations. And one of the girls, she came with me in the premiere and she say, "Sir, can I talk to you in private?" I say, "Yes, of course." And say, "I want to say thank you because you gave me the chance to talk to my mom without talking to her, because I don't know how to do it. So now maybe," she said to me, "maybe this is the last time, because I don't know how to talk to my mother like you did it." And I say, "No, it wasn't me, it was you. I was just helping you." So sometimes we need, like in this case, the camera really helps to talk with your parents, because we don't know. That's the reason why I was saying, like, it's a pattern, it's like, this movie is not only about the rights that they don't have. It's also about the parents who they forget that the kids are kids. They are not workers. They don't have to work at home. They don't need to clean. They don't need to do breakfast. They don't need to take care of their brother, they need to live their life. So basically this movie is about to give the mother and the fathers this idea of, hey, you need to think that your 16, 14 years old teenager at home, she's a teenager. She's not a domestic worker. And sadly, they became domestic workers. So it's like a circle. That's why I separate fathers, parents, and kids. And I showed the movie only to them. And they really love it. And the premiere was fantastic because they feel like big stars. This was the process, but was not only me. It's domestic workers. They call me. We create with all these women and fathers and parents. It was a process very deep in the development, but not during the shooting. During the shooting was only me and the kid, no one else. La señora con el sombrero que está levantando la mano.
Okay.
I just want to ask you about the choices that you both made on photography. One is very close, very invasive, and the other is kind of aloof and remote, and this kid could be loose there. Like it could be like you couldn't, but both of them work really well. So, but I want to know how you came to that decision.
This is very true.
¿Quieren tocar? Hemos quedado sin pilas.
Sí. Era importante resaltar en la película el entorno que podría estar en riesgo y en peligro. Y aparte también para toda la gente que vive en esta zona es parte de su cotidianidad. O sea, es su apu, es su río, es su acompañante cotidiano, ¿no? No es que estén solos en el lugar, sino es parte de su día a día. Y para mí era importante representar todo este entorno como un personaje también, a través del sonido y a través, obviamente, de la imagen. Por eso se resalta mucho el tema de los elementos naturales. Pero finalmente es que un lugar así tan hermoso podría estar en riesgo.
So basically, he was saying about his choice that they needed to show the landscape, the environment, that for a number of reasons, but also especially because most of this landscape is in danger, and it's important also to understand the characters, because on a daily basis they live there. So for him it was a must actually to have this kind of choice. With the photography and showing these landscapes and incorporating the sounds and everything that we saw in the film.
Well, for me, my style is very like this, very close up. I like to be very close. I don't like to observe. I like just to be there, just to feel with you. It's like I'm not an observer. I don't want to put distance. So when you put a camera, there is a distance, that's for sure. And if you're a foreigner, it's even more. But for me, the idea was, this is not about the beauty of the place, because to be honest, all these places where they live, if you go outside, it was not beautiful, but was like the mountains, the slums, and the sunset it could be beautiful. But for me for me the silence, I need to catch only silence, to be alone. So they are alone, so they live inside, they are a trap. So a dog is taking care of you. So why I'm gonna go outside to show like a beautiful, because if the dog doesn't let you go out, so you cannot go out because the dog is there. So the other women, you cannot go out because you need to work, clean, make breakfast. So basically, the camera for me represent this prison, this like, and I got very close up, not only because it's my style, it's because for me it's a way to get the truth. It's like, this is true. When you make a documentary, it's not true because you edit in music, blah blah blah. You know, it's like, it's you. Obviously, it's a kind of like a manipulation. But this kind of like, when you are working with kids, for me was like, that's the reason why the camera, the movement is shaking, you know? It's like, I didn't cut almost. I was like, it doesn't matter. If we are moving, we need to know what you are doing, your body language. It has to be very real, very fresh. That's why I decided to go for this style.
Okay, I think this lady here has over there has the, and that might be probably the last one.
La señora con sombreros levanta la mano
Sí.
un montón, pobre.
Sí, sí, sí. Y,
Nos va a matar a todos.
sí.
Ok,
Ok.
lo voy a hacer bien corto y si gusta de ustedes dos, porque sé que uno es cusqueño, ¿qué tanto les ha movido de vuelta a la raíz? Porque esa cosmovisión andina existe. El Apu Ozangate es el Apu del poder, de la solidaridad, de que protege al pueblo. Y también la piedra. El año pasado o el año antepasado, los científicos han descubierto que una piedra tiene vida porque tiene núcleo. Y bueno, yo, para no decir mucho de mí, yo sigo mucho la cosmovisión andina. Hace como más de 20 años hago los rituales. Y ese dar, ese haber escogido, no sé, ese lugar tan sagrado que ha hecho posible encontrar al niño, encontrar los animales, a toda esta comunidad, no es casualidad. Yo pienso que es parte de la cosmovisión, porque cuando uno ofrece, inclusive en la última escena, cuando se ofrece la piedra y por eso desaparece a la Uquitaita, es que ahí viene el milagro, digamos así, ¿no? De que Perú va al mundial, de que tratan de parar o aparentemente a las mineras. Entonces no es casualidad. ¿Y qué más? ¿Qué los puede ahora motivar a hacer otra película así? Aunque aquí habemos muchos que podemos colaborar económicamente, hay muchos, pero no sé.
¿De verdad? Wow. Is it real?
Yeah, it is real. You can count on me.
Okay, give me your number later.
I will. Okay, eso es porque quiero saber qué tan envueltos están o qué tanto saben o cuánta fe tienen en la cosmovisión andina, porque yo la he recuperado, digamos así. Gracias.
So it was a beautiful question and comment also, but basically it was about the Andean cosmovision, and she was saying that all the things that we were talking, it wasn't everything that happened, it wasn't by chance. There's a whole order of things, and she was saying that she followed that, and the moment you offer things, you get there's a cycle. You get also things, and that has to do with all the things that happened during the shooting, and that they ended up choosing that place. It wasn't by chance, basically. and at the end, she was also saying, what can we do for you actually to make your next film? And she was offering some help, and I think they might get a deal with Flavio at least, but we'll see.
Well, I think a deal is too much.
So maybe some crowdfunding. I don't know. We'll get to that after the Q&A. But if we can address at least the whole, mostly the whole cosmovision and the whole thing, so we can probably wrap up and continue later on.
Bueno, muchas gracias por las palabras. Qué lindo escuchar eso cuando se ve la película. Para mí, que soy del Cusco, es una cuestión cotidiana, es algo más del diario, no ha sido un redescubrimiento. Aunque sí, en cada lugar se vive la cosmovisión de distinta manera, pero creo que el espíritu es el mismo, ¿no? Para la película, definitivamente, siempre digo esto, creo que ha tenido una estrella hermosa para poder encontrar al niño con su perro, su alpaca, encontrar el lugar. El día que rodamos en el Laosangate, esta toma final, o las que se ven en el Laosangate, que fue un día de rodaje exclusivo en el lugar, de pronto abrió el cielo y tuvimos todo el rodaje, todo el día sin nubes. O sea, filmamos 18 días y 3 semanas de rodaje únicamente, y siempre bien, no hubo ningún inconveniente, siempre agradeciendo, ofrendando, y creo que ha sido un aprendizaje también para todos los del equipo. Pero sí es algo cotidiano que de hecho se está perdiendo mucho, y creo que con la peli tratamos no sé, de poner este granito en los corazones para poder recuperar esta tradición, ¿no?
Sí.
Literal.
So the importance of the road, he was saying that he's from Cusco, so he lives this on a daily basis actually. So it's not only it's not new for him, but for the film, because also there was a film crew. It added again some extra meaning to the whole process. He was saying that even they were shooting for about 3 weeks, like 18 days, and it was always cloudy and the weather was bad. But when they needed it in the final sequence on that day, there were no clouds, no nothing, and they were actually very aware of, that giving the offerings and everything. So they engaged in that process. But again, he's from Cusco, so for him it was a natural thing, and he was also adding at the end that this kind of knowledge and practices, they are somehow disappearing little by little. So they hope that with this film they can somehow bring back or retrieve or keep these traditions and this knowledge, because the film is a living proof that it's important. It's really important one. And I think that we have to. This is a wrap up. But we continue with the conversation later on there in the lobby. If you want to stay, remember that we do have films on Tuesday and Wednesday and also on Thursday. And there are many things to do in the city and many festivals, and we love them. But this is your festival, so see you in the movie. See you.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Por supuesto.
Señor.
Okay,
muchas gracias.
Dale, como gustes.
Ya tienes ahí el crowdfunding para la. Sí. Ahora sí.
How are you, Carol? It has been a while.
Voy a uno que se llama Copelia, que es cubano-peruano. Me llevó un amigo peruano.
¿Y dónde es eso? Aquí en
la 14, aquí